It's championship weekend in the NFL, which means it's our last chance at a non-showdown slate this football season. We'll break down both games. We'll check in on our FFPC lineup, which is hot, scorching hot. We'll give you our best bets for each game. We'll do some underdog drafts, build a couple DFS lineups. It's a la carte tonight on the Bite Size Sports Network.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get just by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk.
Welcome into another edition of Another Damn Fantasy Podcast. ADP is powered by Bite Size Sports. Along with my co-host Josh Lemonsan, we are going to break it down for you. Talk about my Chiefs going for their 4th Super Bowl in 6 seasons. 6 seasons.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Yes,
we're not going to talk about how embarrassing the Vikings exit was.
Add to the flags, baby. Yeah, Josh, how are you doing? Obviously, I do want to hear about the Viking stuff from you. We didn't talk last week.
Right.
It was probably hot, but I want to hear about the Viking stuff. But Viking stuff aside,
right?
How the playoffs been treating you? You hit anything big? Your mittens out there? Your DFS stuff? Anything going well for you?
Mittens were a flop, partially because I trusted my Vikings. So that was mistake number one.
On the Vikings.
I just thought for sure we'd do well against the Rams, but what do I know? So that hasn't worked very well. I've done a lot of like little DF, like I've been doing a little DFS lineup almost every weekend, without putting a lot of thought, and I've been doing pretty well with it for the most part. I feel like, some of the guys that we'll mention tonight, some of the more value plays on like FanDuel, because playoff time comes around, you just, you have to go with some, but they show up a little bit. There's a couple guys in particular I'll mention tonight when we get there. But my big one was I had Xavier Worthy on a first team touchdown as part of a pick 'em at it was like a 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I'm gonna go for it because I did a flex one on Underdog. You lower your winning chances there, so it wasn't going to be worth a ton. But I was too scared to risk it because that's such a crapshoot. But he had the chance to get that first touchdown for the Chiefs, and he got the 1-inch line. I was like, are you kidding me?
Half-yard line.
Yeah.
And we so this past weekend, I go to my buddy's house that I grew up with, do a big crab boil. It's a hell of a time. We just sit there and gamble and enjoy libations essentially all day long.
Nice.
Obviously, all Chiefs fans. And my cousin's there, and we're like putting bets together for the game. And she's like, I'm taking Kareem Hunt. Are you guys taking him first touchdown or anytime? We're like, I don't even know if I'm taking him anytime or I'm going to take him first touchdown. I mean, a half-yard line, yo, and like,
yep,
it was all like I was elated for her,
right,
right, celebrating for her. Come on,
yep.
Awesome. I think we had a Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown as well, and then so for her to get like the half-yard line, it's fun. It's fun to be around, your friends and whatnot, and just even if there's small bets. I think she put like $5 on it. Like that's lovely. Like,
oh yeah,
great. You won $30. Like that's the whole. Enjoy the game, have a lot of fun. So that was cool.
I've done a lot of free stuff on FanDuel with vouchers just because I've been a subscribed for a long time, right? And so I'm not even putting a ton of money in. It just makes it more fun to watch. You got a little bit something more to root for when your team's eliminated. Not that you know what that's like ever because your team's never eliminated, but some of us have to deal with that every playoff cycle. But that's awesome though. Those are the ones, getting that Kareem Hunt first time touchdown.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that suck you in. Now she's going to feel, I got this. I know my stuff. And now the confidence is going to get too high.
Yep.
But yeah, no, my mittens fizzled out. That was kind of a bummer. But I really like throwing a handful of DFS together and trying to pick the fun, like players that people aren't going to draft as much. And it's just hard because like you have to, I think DFS has been a little bit hard this playoffs because of how good Saquon Barkley has been and how good, like if you don't have that production and he's expensive, Like it's really hard to get a lot of points for when there's not that many players playing. It's kind of a challenge. So, but it's a fun challenge, something different than what the regular season has. So,
It
plenty of
reminds me
fun to
a
be
lot
had.
of
I
a
don't.
couple years ago when it was like C-Mac and Jamar Chase. Like those,
Right.
and they're so expensive, but you had to have them each and every week
Yep.
to get anything or get anything, any best balls through, win any DFS lines, whatever you're doing. You had to have those two guys, and Saquon has been that guy this playoff season.
Yep, for
just
sure.
absolutely smashing the competition each and every week,
Sure.
which we have in our FFPC team, which we'll take a look at here a little later on for sure. But first off, we're going to break down the games. If you're here with us in the chat, join us. Throw in your best bets for each game. Let us know who you think's going to win each game. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? You let us know what your thoughts are as we kind of break these games down. We're going to talk about each game individually. First, give you our best bets from those games. Give you our DFS plays from those games, and then we'll put that to use. Maybe we'll build a pick 'em on Underdog. There are some drafts for Underdog, so they're 4-person drafts for Sunday only. So I think we should probably hit some of those up.
For
and
sure.
Of course, build a DFS lineup for championship weekend. So let's just jump on in it. Eagles are hosting the Commanders, the surprising Washington Commanders. Eagles 6.5-point favorites, 47.5 over under here. Josh, I'll kind of let you kick it off, like just kind of a high level overview. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so I mean, rightfully so. There's a ton of buzz surrounding the Commanders. Jaden Daniels having an amazing rookie season of dreams, really, and it is really good for that fan base. They finally got the new ownership after years of just terribly run franchise decisions and things like that. And so it's a good story to see. But I think it kind of ends here, to be honest. My big thing when I think about it is, because they're getting a lot of buzz and people are saying, well, Jalen Hurts is a little bit injured. He's battling through some injury right now. And they bottled up Saquon in the second half of the last time they played. And so people are pointing to that to say that, like, third time they play each other, division rivals, it's going to be a close game. Commanders have what it takes. They've slowed down Saquon Barkley before, but I don't see enough people remembering that Kenny Pickett played in that game, most of that game. And he didn't even play particularly terrible, but you have the backup quarterback in that changes things, right? Jalen Hurts is good enough where when he's not their starting quarterback, he changes things. So if he is really, really hurt, but he played through the last week's game and looked good enough, if he's really, really hurt, that could be a problem. But otherwise, I think I like where the Eagles are at. The other thing in that game, before Jaden Daniels leads that drive, that's kind of going down in history, is like one of his signature moments of this season when he takes them down and they win the game. The drive before that, Devontae Smith had a wide open slant that he dropped, and that first down would have allowed the Eagles to basically run out the clock. And so then we're not, we're coming into this game saying, yeah, the Commanders are
Washington might not be in the playoffs,
right?
At that point,
right? Yeah. And so, like, I think the hype is real, and I'm stoked for Jaden Daniels and for the Commanders. I like them as a team. I think they'll be good next year. I'm not saying that they shouldn't deserve credit, but I'm saying let's remember who the 2 seed is. Let's remember some pedigree here. And we've already talked about him, Saquon Barkley. I mean, he had nearly 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, both meetings against the Commanders. It's not like they've been able to shut him down. They kind of were able to slow him down in the second half of that last game due to the fact that, they were able to really sell out to stop the run. But I think that the Eagles they're just too good in the trenches. My other point was going to be the Eagles defense is playing extremely well, and the Commanders know that, but the Commanders are flying high with confidence because of playing against Detroit's defense that has nobody who's healthy, right? Like, Detroit made too many mistakes offensively, but they also gave up 45 points. The Commanders are not scoring 45 points this weekend. And so I think that riding the hype is fair, and you can be excited about the Commanders. And I even like some of their players, as we'll talk about coming up here about DFS plays and stuff. But I don't know. That's my general overview before we get to actual picks. But
yeah, I think that the Eagles are just overall top to bottom the more talented team.
Yeah.
Just anywhere and everywhere you look, they have more talent there. Even at the quarterback position, I don't know what's going on in Philadelphia. You go back to the A.J. Brown thing, reading on the sidelines. You go to Jalen Hurts, like, really doesn't look healthy, doesn't look 100%. He doesn't look like he's in the game. I don't know what's going on with him. It helps when you can just turn and hand it to Saquon Barkley and
Yes.
he can go for 200 yards. That's obviously very helpful, but this defense is absolutely for real. I know that they were in the snow a little bit, and Matthew Stafford he's 1-9 in the snow and doesn't play well in the cold weather and the snow stuff. But this defense just shut them down.
Yeah.
After the Rams made Minnesota kind of look silly, who has a solid defense all year long. And I think that is going to catch up to the rookie quarterback. I think Jaden Daniels is phenomenal. I think that he has an absolute argument to being one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFC right now. I think most every NFC team wishes they had Jaden Daniels right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that at the end of the day, I think the Eagles are just going to be too talented top to bottom in this game here. And we'll get to our final predictions. I think everybody kind of knows which way we're both leaning already. Right. But let's get to our best bets for this game. If you're in the chat, you got a best bet for the Eagles Commanders game, throw it into the chat. Let us know what it is. I'm going with Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Yep. This is a plus 142 right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. My theory here is kind of goes back to what you were talking about with the Saquon stuff. I mean, everybody's going to sell out to stop Saquon Barkley. You can't blame them for that, obviously.
Right.
But I think it's time for Jalen Hurts to show up and show out and prove that he can still make the throws. He can still lead this team to a Super Bowl. And I think there's going to be opportunities in this game against this Washington back end. They're kind of a run funnel, but really this defense has been kind of porous all season long, which has pushed the offense and made them so fantasy friendly.
Yep.
But give me Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus money, plus 142. So plenty of juice there if you lay the 1.5.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. In a little bit, we'll talk about bold predictions, and that actually goes hand in hand with my bold predictions. So I'm fully on board with that as well. I think exactly what you said. I think they're going to sell out to stop Saquon. They probably won't do it fully, but I think it will create some red zone passing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts tonight, or maybe a deep shot to Devontae Smith, something to that effect. My best bet, I wanted to do something Saquon related. His higher lower on Underdog when I was looking earlier today was at 130.5 yards. And that still scares. It should not scare me for Saquon, but it did a little bit. That's a high number for a playoff game. You know, if they do sell out, or in my head, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for the Eagles to build a pretty big lead. Not that they did sit Saquon too early or anything like that, but whatever game script looks like, I'm just a little worried that it may not get quite as high as he's been, even though he's been so great. But I actually built a little parlay and I put higher than 23.5 on his longest rush of the game, which is a pretty obscure bet. But
yeah,
I feel like he's a home run threat every time he takes the ball, and 23.5 yards for Saquon is not outlandish at all. I mean, he had a 62-yard touchdown against the Rams in the snow. You know, I think it's pretty safe he's going to bust at least one big one. That's kind of my philosophy there. You know, and so that one's a little bit more risky. I don't know if you want to do a lot of those from an advice standpoint, but I'm just, you know, we're both kind of leaning Eagles here already, but I'm feeling good about Saquon to break that.
And he's broken. I mean, I don't know the stat obviously, but it feels like every single game.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a given. He's going to break one, but I'm like, you know, he'll break it out for like a 45-yard run. He'll get tackled like the 3 or something maybe.
Yeah.
Little Jalen Hurts.
Lee here says Ertz for the first touchdown. I don't mind Ertz anytime.
Nope.
I don't like the first touchdown stuff. Usually if I go first touchdown, I'm laying a running back, or something like that. But I mean, hey, have at it. Ertz gets the first touchdown. A little revenge game for Zach Ertz.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he'll be. Is that team Lee? Is that team first touchdown, or is that just first touchdown of the game? Because I like it. I like it more as a team first touchdown. I think
that's true.
Because
I don't mind that.
Ertz is definitely a favorite in the red zone.
And he mentioned getting in the fourth quarter, so maybe that's what maybe he's just saying, like Washington struggles. Maybe they're kind of trailing at the end, and then just get him a touchdown there.
Okay, first team. That's pretty bold. I hope the multiplier is nice on that one then, because I think that's a bold one.
Ertz first touchdown have got to be like plus 600 or something like that. All right, let's go to a little DFS stuff. We're going to build a lineup here in a little bit, but just out of this game, who is your favorite DFS play?
Yeah, so we talked about, I talked about the Commanders where I still like some of these players in their offense, even though the defense is really good. I kind of like an Olamide Zaccheaus play as a really cheap option. We talked earlier, and it's kind of more of your pick your favorite option. Now he is questionable, so I got to put that out there, but he's only $5,200. So I have Austin Eckler as my backup. Like I like kind of a lower level Commanders skill player. Austin Eckler's had 4 targets in each of the first 2 playoff games. Zaccheaus hasn't done a whole lot, but he's been a pretty reliable target for Jane Daniels all season. And so the reason I like a player like that is because we talked about it earlier. Barkley's one of those players you might have to play him. And so if he's over 9,000 in your DFS lineup, and then you try to play Josh Allen or something, if you're doing the full slate, like you're going to have to get some of these cheaper guys. And I feel good about Olamide Zaccheaus. I know that De'Ami Brown has had a lot more production since the playoffs started. And so, I wouldn't be upset if you're kind of leaning in that direction too. But I feel like the Commanders are going to be playing from behind in this game, in my opinion. It's going to be cold in Philadelphia. So I like some short passes to Zaccheaus, and I like Eckler out of the backfield, getting his 4 catches on 4 targets, running for 30 yards. If one of those gets in the end zone, you're getting a really good value for a player that's in the 5,000 range for it. So when we talk about favorite there we go.
I understand it now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's when Barkley cooks. Sorry, exactly. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just read it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
No, I'm glad you clarified too. That makes sense, Lee. Yeah, you're totally right. I should have just gone the over on the 130.5 yards because Barkley could just do it whichever quarter he decides to do it. But so anyway, back to the DFS ones. These are my favorite ones just because I feel like you can draft these guys and they're not going to be ones that everyone drafts, but I feel like you can count on some production. Eckler's a little bit more consistent there. But we've seen some games throughout the season that Zaccheaus kind of gets more targets than he's normally going to get, and I like like a contrarian play to some of the big guys, especially if you have to have a star heavy lineup. That's kind of my theme for this. If you have to play some of those really expensive guys, you just got to go with your gut on some of these cheaper guys. And I think I've always liked Zaccheaus, and Eckler I think is probably the safer option. So I like both those guys. When they're losing, they're going to get some production even against this defense. So,
yeah, Zaccheaus right now looks like projection-wise ownership would be like a phenomenal tournament play, less than 10%,
right?
Which is, I mean, that's huge when there's only 2 games. And then Eckler is looking to be about the 3rd highest on running back, which makes sense because he is. Yeah. I mean, he catches the ball right out of the backfield, and he's so cheap on FanDuel. He's $5,600. Right. Easily can double that in a play or two. So it does make sense that he is looking there. And with the Chiefs guys, they kind of split the carries, and Brian Robinson hasn't really been involved recently, and so he is the 3rd because he's probably the 3rd best play.
Yep.
For me here, yes. You can easily go Saquon, but I play a lot of tournament plays. I'll play like this is a $10 NFL scramble. There's 2,400 people in here. For me, it's playing the playing off of the most chalky play, which is going to be Saquon.
Yeah.
He's going to be 80% owned. He should be 80%. Like everybody should have him. I'm going to go back to the AJ Brown because AJ Brown has a ceiling that is not matched by any other wide receiver on this slate. Now, Saquon also has a ceiling that no other running back can go. But just thinking from a tournament standpoint and the fact that I have to beat, if I want to win first place, I have to beat 2,300 other people. I really, really like AJ Brown, the ceiling that he brings, and the low, relatively low, less than 40% is what he's projecting ownership. And he can absolutely have a 2-touchdown game. He could have a 3-touchdown game. We've seen it before from him. It's kind of a contrarian play, but I love AJ Brown on this team. Touchdowns matter a ton in FanDuel. We have seen Saquon have great rushing yardage games and not have a bunch of touchdowns. We've seen that. With the season he's had, he's not the running back with the most touchdowns on this weekend. That's James Cook. He leads the entire league in rushing.
Right.
So give me AJ Brown as kind of a contrarian play.
Yeah, I like that.
The Saquon Barkley stuff.
And he was a full participant today at practice. So he had a little cue by his name earlier. So if anyone has been watching that, you shouldn't have to worry. And he was reading those motivational books on the sideline. He is primed for a championship week domination.
Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, a stack every single week of the playoffs, and it hasn't hit yet. So maybe this is me just manifesting like over and over. And if they win the game, you bet your ass he's going to be in my MVP spot in the Super Bowl, no matter what team he's playing against.
That's awesome.
I want the AJ Brown blow-up game.
It's got to hit sometime. Yep, it's got to hit sometime.
Blow up in the right way, not in the burning books on the sideline because he read them all and now he's pissed. The actual great 2-touchdown, maybe 3-touchdown.
Yeah,
AJ Brown game.
Love it.
I like that. We will build a DFS lineup here after we break down the second game as well. Finishing up the Eagles versus the Commanders. If you're here with us, let us know who do you think wins this game. We're going to give a bowl prediction and then a game prediction. So if you've got a bold prediction like Barkley's running for 130 yards in the fourth quarter alone, put it in the chat. Let us know right now. Josh, let me start with my bold prediction first.
Go for it.
You've kind of gone, taking the lead. I'm going with my bold prediction as Jaden Daniels gets a anytime touchdown, probably most likely a rushing touchdown.
Okay.
If you go to bet anytime touchdowns, you got to scroll a little bit to find him. Okay. He's not near the top by any means. It's plus 210 is what the odds are. But my premise here, I think Jaden Daniels, his rushing total is like 54.5, something like that. It's the playoffs. Like, this is your time. You got to figure it out. This pass rush is going to be all over him. Jalen Carter is an absolute steal of a draft. I can't believe he fell to 10 still to this day. Jude is an absolute stud up the middle. Yep. Like, this defense is great. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to be running for his life. And I think he's going to have to be a little Josh Allen-esque if Washington's going to win this game, which leads me to believe, like, hey, maybe he gets in there one or two times. So give me a Jaden Daniels. He is going to score an anytime touchdown in this game.
Yeah, I think that's a smart play. I think that, like you said, this defensive front is going to give him fits, and this is going to really test his mettle. This is going to be his real statement game. Is when it comes down to it, when he gets his team inside the 30, and he has to scramble and play a little hero ball. Can he get it in the end zone? I think I like that. I think he'll get. It's definitely within the realm of possibility for sure.
Tampa Bay and Detroit are not great defense. I mean, Detroit had so many injuries. They probably could have been way better. I don't want to take anything away from Detroit in the season they've had, but they weren't great defensively.
Yeah.
And so he's literally just had to outscore everybody. Well, now he's not necessarily going to be able to just willy-nilly do whatever he wants. I think he's going to have to mix it up a little bit, run the ball more.
Much bigger secondary, or much better secondary. He's going to have to scramble and pick up some first downs with his legs and probably a touchdown as well. So, yeah, I think that I like that one. Very nice. My bold prediction is, I mentioned earlier, it goes along with your Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. My bold prediction is Jalen Hurts is going to have 3 total touchdowns in this game. And I kind of played around with some combinations. I think 2 passing touchdowns and a tush push sounds about right to me. You could very easily be 2 rushing and a passing, but I think he gets it done in the air and then adds another one on the ground. I think this is a game where he needs to rise up a little bit. And I think kind of like what you were talking about earlier, I do think the Commanders are going to sell out to stop Saquon. They're going to make him pass. They're going to make Hurts pass. And I think he's such a poised player that even though he's hurt, he's going to find a way to manage what he's playing through. And he'll hit, hopefully he hits his AJ Brown stack for you on a couple 40-yard touchdowns or something like that. But I think he'll get 3 total touchdowns in my bold prediction, because he only had 2 against the Packers. He had 2 passing ones. He only had 1 against the Rams. He had 1 rushing touchdown. So he's due for a slightly bigger game, I think, to get them to the Super Bowl. So 3 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, playing through injury.
I like that a lot. All right, moment of truth. If you're in the chat, who wins? Josh, who wins? And spread of -6.5. So does Philly cover? Does Washington keep it close? And ultimately, who wins the football game?
I'm going to go confident in the Eagles that they win and also cover the 6.5 point spread. I just think you mentioned earlier, the better team, better in the trenches, much better defense. The Commanders know that, yes, but they also are used to playing secondaries that just give up passing yards like it's, everything's free against the Lions and Bucks secondary. So I like the Eagles to cover that spread. Yeah,
as do I. 27-17 is kind of what I have in mind, somewhere around there. Okay. I don't believe in Washington's defense, and I think Philadelphia has probably the best defense in the game. I mean, they do, in my opinion, have the best defense in the game. And just time for the rookie quarterbacks Cinderella story to come to an end, but this guy is going to be around for a long time, I do believe. So Philadelphia, for me, 27-17. That takes us to the mothership, the game of all games. Last week, we got MVP versus MVP, 2 guys who always lose in the playoffs, it seems like. And this week, we get MVP versus former MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. Josh Allen hasn't won a damn thing. Bills versus Chiefs. Chiefs 1.5 point favorites right now here in Kansas City. The host, 6 straight years. No, 5 out of 7 years. Forgot we had to go to Buffalo last year, or Baltimore last year for it. 5 of 7 years they've hosted the AFC Championships. 7 straight AFC Championships.
Oh my gosh.
Arrowhead Invitational. Josh Allen and a bunch of nobodies coming in Arrowhead. That's my overview of the game. What you got, Josh? What you got? I'll settle down with the Phantom and get more actual analytical here. I had to get a little bit of it out, though.
No, I love it. You got it.
There's banner. I'm like Nick Wright with all my banners back here. I should have pulled each one.
Yeah. You kind of analytical. You have so many stats that you have to go through with all the accolades that the Chiefs have racked up over the past year. So there's a lot of statistical analysis there, just in awards and accolades and victories.
I do think Josh Allen has had an MVP season, just for the record.
Right. That's fair. That's different in the playoffs, though. They haven't gotten over that hump yet. I told you pre-show, though, that I'm going to go against your Chiefs this time. I think this might be the year that Josh Allen gets it. He is the biggest thing he's done this year. He only threw for 6 interceptions. He's way down on his turnovers. He's making smart plays. And we go back to the beginning of the season, he didn't have he said a bunch of nobodies. He doesn't have his wide receiver 1, he didn't have Diggs. I think that's actually unlocked another level for him where he is everything on his own terms, who he wants to throw to when. He doesn't have to get a certain amount of targets to certain guys. They have a great running game. And I think they have enough on defense, on the edge with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, and some nice playmakers in the secondary. So I think the Bills can do it this year because of the cutting down on the turnovers. And I think he's ready. He's mature enough to take it. And honestly, if he doesn't do it this year, I mean, it's kind of at the point where the Bills have been stuck in the same realm now for all those years that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, like the Bills have been the team right there, like getting better. At some point, you got to take that next step, and this feels like the year to do it. So if they're ever gonna do it, I think it might be this year. So I have to go against your Chiefs, but again, you guys have had so many things already. You don't need any more championships, right? You don't need the three-peat. You're so greedy over there.
Need is relative, right? No, I think that honestly, like as a sports, like as a fan, right? If last week would have went awry and you lose to Houston, you're super upset. Like at first,
yep.
Just because you're like, what the hell? Like Houston of all teams. What are we doing?
Right.
But the worst loss in Chiefs playoff history was losing it to Joe Burrow in Arrowhead.
Yep.
Like downright straight, like that has been the absolute worst. Not losing to Brady in overtime for a coin flip, like that sucked. But that wasn't the worst.
Right.
That was awesome. That game was phenomenal, right? Back and forth, whatever. If coin flip wins it. That's the way the game was back then.
Yep.
Nobody changed the rules after the Chiefs lost. Bills. But to lose to Joe Burrow in Arrowhead, that was the absolute worst. And I bring that up because there's one thing, and it's not Lamar Jackson. Losing to the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen in Arrowhead would top it. Would top losing to Joe Burrow. Like that would be the worst feeling of all time.
Ooh.
Lose to CJ Stroud, whatever. Good job. Congratulations. You get to go be second place in AFC because Baltimore or Buffalo is going to whoop you. Like we know that's
right.
But now you're in the AFC Championship. You're hosting Josh Allen, who I think they're 3-0 against in the Mahomes era against Josh Allen in the playoffs. I don't know. Like I feel like this is probably how Brady versus Manning felt back then. When Brady would win all the games and Manning every once in a while won a game.
Yep.
It's probably how it felt being like a Brady fan, which obviously we're not here in Kansas City.
Right.
Now, all that to be said, like I actually don't mind Like I think Josh Allen's a phenomenal football player. I love watching him play. Great fantasy guy. Like great to have him on your fantasy team because he loves to run the ball.
Yep.
He really has truly carried that team this year. It was supposed to be a rebuilding year for Buffalo. They weren't supposed to be good. They didn't have any wide receivers. Their defense was trash.
Tons of turnover on their defense. Yeah.
Yeah, like they weren't supposed to be good this year, and here they are in the AFC Championship game. So like, kudos to them for continuing to be the second best team in the AFC. Like, you really got there, right? Like, but if I go back to just last week, Josh Allen doesn't win that game. Lamar with the fumble, Lamar with the overthrow interception. Mark Andrews drops the ball. Mark Andrews fumbles the ball in the middle of the field. Like the Ravens should have won that game. I really, truly just straight up believe like the Ravens were the better team. They just straight up did Ravens things. Like
right,
that's
like
what the Ravens do in the playoffs, right?
Right. I would say the previous year against you guys, they had an obscene amount of penalties at really poor times. It was a close game, but that could have nudged them over the Chiefs last year too, potentially. Like the Ravens have been a really good team. I went on Simon's pod last night. We were doing some QB rankings, and we have, our top three is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And I was like, Lamar Jackson might end up the AFC quarterbacks right now. This is the next generation still for another probably decade around there. So like we could there's a world in which like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson don't win Super Bowls ever. And they're just like the great quarterbacks that never win one. Like
they were born at the wrong time,
Exactly.
Shouldn't have been born when Patrick was born. What the heck?
That's right. Exactly.
You brought up Allen's only 6 turnovers. I think it's a great point to bring up. Mahomes, it's been 12 straight games. The Chiefs, 12 straight games. Mahomes was throwing interceptions like crazy early in the season. Now they've gone 12 straight games without one.
Yep.
Mahomes' last 8 playoff games, 8-0, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Somebody's going to make a turnover.
Yep.
And it could very likely be the ball game in this game.
Yep. No, I think that's entirely accurate because I was, Josh Allen, that's always been his thing, has been turnovers. So I think that's a big step for him, but that doesn't mean he's completely, immune to throwing bad interceptions at bad times. So, yep, for sure.
Lee says 24-21 Chiefs over the Bills. Overtime again.
Entirely likely. Very likely.
That for sure. All right, let's get into our best bets. Let me get off my fandom high horse here. Let's go best bets. Let me kick it over to you first. What's your best bet here in Buffalo versus Kansas City?
Yeah, so I'm leaning into the Josh Allen side of things still, but even if I didn't think that the Bills were going to win necessarily, I like the multiplier on over 1.5 passing touchdowns I got for Josh Allen because I think regardless of how this game ends, I think there's going to be points and I think there's going to be passing touchdowns on both sides. So I like him to get at least 2 of those, reminiscent of that, the infamous game where you mentioned that the rules change, right? The 13 seconds and all that stuff. Gabe Davis had 4 touchdowns that game. That was wild, but
I'll probably have to watch it again tomorrow.
So I normally it's in the playoffs. Sometimes it's hard to pick over passing touchdowns. Now we've both done it with our best bets. We did it with Hurts, but it's just the offenses just seem to be a lot better for that this year. And when you have these two juggernauts, like, there's always the itch to do like a, one of those in the just single game slates where you pick Harrison Butker and Tyler Bass and put one of them as your MVP and kind of hope it's like a 12-9 game because it's the playoffs. It'll be cold, right? Like there's always a little temptation, but I think this is going to be points. I think there's going to be points in this game. And I like Allen to get at least 2 passing touchdowns. It could still be in a loss, but I think they can do that much.
Hey, high flying back and forth. We all like that.
Yep.
Lise Hunt gets first TD. This is what Kylie had this on Saturday, and it worked out. It was awesome.
Nice.
It was awesome. Robert says, "Good evening, gang. What is up?"
Hello,
Robert. Who do you think wins? Chiefs or Bills, man? Chiefs or Bills? Who wins this game? My best bet. I'm going Mahomes over 24.5 rushing yards.
I like that.
He averages nearly 33 rushing yards per game in the playoffs. Only had 14 last week. Didn't really need a ton. When you got the refs giving you 15 free yards every other play, apparently that's what Twitter told me anyways. So whatever, there we go. That's the real Robert Thomas we needed in here. We needed this energy, man. We needed this energy. Let's go, baby. That's what we love.
That's awesome.
Anyways, he only ran for 14 last week, but he does average in those last 8 playoff games that I mentioned. He averages 27 yards per game. So he runs the ball in these big time moments. It's very subtle. You probably remember a few over the years of him kind of getting to the sideline, then getting up the sideline for a couple more. He just really utilizes his legs in a very strategic manner, I would say.
He'll for sure convert a 3rd and 8 with a 14-yard run at some point in the game or something like that. Like that'll happen. He always seems to do that.
Oh, don't worry about the dirty mouth. We need the energy here, you know. I mean, I'll take it. Give it to me. Let me have it. Tell me all about the Chiefs and the stripes, you know. Don't talk about the head official walking over and telling Josh Allen, "I'm sorry that I didn't call that for you." Gave him a pat on the back. I missed it. Don't talk about that. No, talk about the roughing the passer when the guy's behind Patrick Mahomes and all he sees is Mahomes' head go. Like, what is he supposed to do? Just ignore it? I agree it was a soft call. No, he didn't get the 15 when he flopped out of bounds.
I was mad at him for flopping, but
it was annoying. I don't blame him.
He didn't get the call though.
He didn't get the call. The flopping is annoying, but if you think about it, when he gets hit up high and he throws his head back, like he got himself 15 yards, you know? So take it. All right. Favorite DFS play. Let me pull FanDuel up. You can have it first. Who is your favorite DFS play?
So I have a couple of guys here. We have hold on, I lost my notes for a second. Sorry. Okay. So I still love Khalil Shakir. He's super boring, but he's super consistent. He has, he's got 12 catches on 13 targets in his 2 playoff games. So I think he's still under 7,000. I think when I was on there earlier, he was 6,400. 6,400. Yeah. That's super cheap. You can build a lot of lineups, and he's probably, when you look up projected ownership, I'm sure he's going to be really high. So that definitely probably not a contrarian play, but definitely a good solid play where you can, where you can expect him to get you the points that you need. So I did throw a little wild card in there. I think Curtis Samuel, I feel like he didn't do much last game. It's kind of like my Olamide Zaccheaus pick. If you're looking for a guy to try out, it is kind of a boomer bust. It's kind of if a home run hit or not kind of deal. But they do kind of scheme him some screens. They scheme him some runs. If one of those breaks, again at 5,300, if you need one in a star heavy lineup, I think you could do a lot worse. And he's definitely out there running routes and getting some targets. So he's only got 5 catches over the first 2 games of the playoffs. But again, you're going for a boom here to fill out your lineup if you need a cheaper play. So that's my more obscure one because I don't think you can go wrong with Khalil Shakir. But if you need to go sneaky and a little bit with your gut, I like Curtis Samuel a little bit this week.
Yeah, the nice thing about Shakir is he is priced right here with Xavier Worthy. I think Worthy has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think Shakir has a higher floor, right? Mm-hmm. So give me, if you've got Zaccheaus and you add on Eckler and whatever, you hit some pieces in that first game, I think you can just sit with Shakir because he has a higher floor, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, Robert, dude, thank you for the subscription. Love to see it, dude. Robert. Love to see it. Go Chiefs, right? Yeah, go Chiefs. No, seriously though, we do really appreciate you being here. Appreciate you enjoying yourself in our chat at my expense. I'll take it. I do like Xavier Worthy a little bit more here than Shakir, just the ceiling wise. I think most people will. So you're going to get a little ownership discount with Shakir and a little higher floor, in my opinion. So I like that call. The only reason I don't like Curtis Samuel as much is because he's 5,300 when I can get Keon Coleman at 49. This is crazy, but he's also not doing anything. Right? Like he's literally doing nothing at all.
But yeah, if you're doing a crapshoot, it saves you some money. That makes sense.
If you need something, but I would say if you take Curtis Samuel and you need just a boomer bust, like Curtis Samuel or Keon Coleman are both guys that nobody's really going to have. So good late game, throw it in there. So my favorite is Travis Kelce. And here's the reason. Like, I don't think you can walk out. Let me rephrase that. I don't think there is very many times that you win a tournament this weekend without Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce versus Dalton Kincaid versus Dallas Goedert versus Zach Ertz. I mean, Kelce is above and beyond way more valuable to his team. He is way more involved with the passing offense than those other guys. We were talking pre-show about Dalton Kincaid running like 45 routes or 45% of the routes. Like he's just not, he's not out there anymore. I think that, I don't even know. I assume he's probably going to be 80% owned, but I don't like, I think there's paths. 60% is what ETR has, my established run has right now. I think there are paths that you don't need Saquon Barkley. I think there are paths. Maybe he runs for 95 yards, 100 yards, but Jalen Hurts gets 2 tush pushes, yada, yada, right? Like,
right.
And Kareem Hunt scores a touchdown and Austin Eckler scores a touchdown. And they don't outscore Barkley, but when you take salaries into consideration, there's a story to be told there.
Right.
I don't know if there's a real story that somebody can say, yep, I didn't need Travis Kelce. Because he's only 6,800. We're not talking about $8,000 Travis Kelce like we used to have to talk about on FanDuel.
Right.
Even 7,500. He's less than 7K. I don't know. I could be completely off base here. I do think people will go to guys like Zach Ertz. Like Robert says here, if I just look up all the tight ends, you've got Kelce 68, Dallas Goedert 59, Ertz 55, Kincaid 52. So if you want to just jam the AJ Browns and Saquon Barkley's, Terry McLaurin, all the studs, Josh Allen, you might have to go down here. But I think you jam Travis Kelce. That's my I mean, I might have him in every, and that's not because I'm wearing his jersey. That's literally, I just think that look at what had happened last week. They're going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I think
he's going to be a huge part of the offense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because Ertz, I like Ertz as an economy play because he tends to get in the end zone with Jaden Daniels. Goddard's had a pretty good postseason, but he didn't practice today. It's hard to envision him sitting on Sunday, but do have to monitor that questionable tag as well. So see what's happening there. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Kelce offers the advantage that you can't really, it'd be really hard to make up, especially at the tight end spot. So I think that makes sense.
This right here is going to keep people off Kelce. 4 targets, 2 catches, 8 yards.
Oh, yep. That's different in the playoffs, though. It's different in the playoffs for him.
Absolutely. At home in the playoffs. So, but yeah, I don't mind. I mean, I wouldn't also mind going double tight end.
Oh, there you go.
You know, playing Ertz in the first game and Kelce in the second.
Yep.
All right. Lee says, wouldn't RB Johnson for the Bills be a good cheap get? Because Johnson goes for that long pass where Cook and Davis don't. Yeah, Cook and Davis, Davis is the bowling ball. He's the bruiser. He's the short yard guy. Johnson's definitely the pass catcher if we look at Davis versus Johnson. And there's only 2 games. So yes, right? Like you can definitely get there. I don't know that you need to get there on this slate. Austin Eckler, 5,600. He's going to be way more involved than Ty Johnson is. Yep. Kareem Hunt's only 6K versus Johnson's 5,300. So I just don't know if we need to get to Ty Johnson. But yes, I think that Ty Johnson could be in play. Again, we'll build a lineup here before too long. I just don't know if we're going to get that cheap.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
All right, let's get into our bold prediction and then our game prediction. If you're here with us, give us your bold prediction and game prediction in the chat. I think we all know which way Robert's going. But let's hear your bold prediction and game predictions in the chat as we finish up here with the Kansas City hosting Buffalo game, and then we will move on, check out FFPC, and then build some DFS lineups. Josh, everybody knows where I'm going game prediction, so I'll let you kind of go. And let me start bold prediction. Let me go bold prediction.
Yeah. Go for it.
Get that out of the way because it's going to roll right into my game prediction. My bold prediction for the 2025 Arrowhead Invitational. Kansas City Chiefs win by 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
Lay the minus 13.5 and book it. I like Josh Allen, but this team, top to bottom, is not a talented team. The Chiefs defense is great. The Chiefs have everything you need. The coach, the quarterback, the star offensive player, the star defensive lineman, great defensive backs, great defensive coach, phenomenal special teams. I should have gone Nico Remigio taking it to the house.
He
almost did in the first game or the last game.
That would have been a bold prediction.
Chiefs win by 14 points or more.
Ooh.
My bold prediction also rolls into my game prediction. Give me Chiefs minus 1.5.
There you go. Wow, 2 touchdown win in the AFC Championship.
They put it on them. They let them know who their daddy is.
There you go. I can't bring myself to call it the Arrowhead Invitational, but that's exactly the thing I'd be saying if the Vikings were in that position. So I'm not going to fault you there.
5 out of the last 7 years, you know.
It's hard to argue with that.
Robert's going the opposite side. Robert's going out. I think we probably saw this coming after earlier comments.
Yep.
Robert, for the audio listeners, Robert says the Bills boat race the Chiefs.
Yeah. Robert, I am on your side. I told Trev pre-show I was going to be contrary to the Chiefs tonight. I think the Bills can do it. I think Josh Allen can do it. My bold prediction is that the Bills DST will score a touchdown. That's my bold prediction. Whether it's How? What's that? Well, right. My first was like maybe it's a strip sack, but Mahomes is really good at doing that. I think it's going to be like a Kareem Hunt, Xavier Worthy fumble or something.
It's going to have to be somebody else. Like they throw it out they throw out like a screen.
Yep.
To like Xavier Worthy or Hollywood, and they catch it and they take like 2 steps, just enough to call to catch, and then wham. You know what I'm talking about? Like where you're you caught it, you take off
when you make a football move, and
which is like it could happen. That's But now you're on the outside, so you just scoop and score.
Yep. So that's my bold prediction. I think the Bills DST gets a touchdown, and I'm going to pick the Bills to win this, which means that they cover that 1.5 underdogs that they are. So
all right.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting show next week.
If the Bills win, our Super Bowl preview will be a lot easier to watch for those non-Chiefs fans.
That's fair.
All right.
That's very fair. That's awesome.
All right. Let's take a look real fast at our FFPC team. So those of you who have been with us throughout the playoffs, a couple of weeks ago, we obviously set our FFPC team, and just a quick recap. This is how do I pull up the actual roster? So this is you pick one player from each team. Sans 2 teams. You don't pick 2 of the teams, and it's set the whole time. You don't change anything from it. You just set it. Before last weekend, we were up in the 200s, like 259. Wow. We were cruising through the first week of the playoffs. We had everything go right. We had the big lad game. We had the big Houston Texans scored 24 points that week.
Yep.
Puka won, so we're going to have him for a second game. McLaurin's been great. And then last week, Gibbs goes off. We get a big game from Gibbs, so that was awesome.
Yep.
Derrick Henry was not as great. And then this is the biggest one, and this was my pick, so I'm going to own up to it. Travis Kelce goes bonkers last week. And FFPC is a 1.5 PPR for tight ends. We obviously are rolled out TJ Hawkinson. That didn't go well. And so last week we got Xavier Worthy going down at the half-yard line. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce is running all over the Houston Texans. So,
that's tough.
All that to be said, we are still in this thing.
Yeah,
but we are. Let's go to. Is it the leaderboard? We are now in 639th place. So that's still pretty good.
Pretty good. How many total teams?
There are.
I feel like
let me scroll all the way over here. A lot of teams.
Holy buckets! Yeah, we're
a couple 100,000. I don't even remember if it tells us. It probably tells us somewhere. Well, here I have one of these in 15,000th place. So
there you go.
Definitely more than that.
Wow.
Definitely more than
639 is really good. Damn.
Yeah, we're doing awesome with this. So we've got, and I started looking at some of the stuff today. Like, obviously, a lot of people get duplicated in this one. There are quite a bit of people sitting with, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. Sitting at this 364 points. But a lot of them have like Kelce and Washington defense. Gotcha. And so we're not even duplicated very often. We are duplicated a couple times, but not very often.
Nice.
So obviously we have Josh Allen left. We still have an opportunity to move forward. I don't think a lot of people have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback, but I do think a lot of people have Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels, or probably not Jaden Daniels, but Jalen Hurts for sure.
Right.
And so even if the Chiefs win, I think we still have a path to continue to move forward. If and only if Xavier Worthy really has to outscore Travis Kelce the next 2 weeks. If that happens, then we really start to catapult ourselves into top 500, top 300 type of situation. Right. So we're sitting pretty right now. Yeah. I think we're winning currently through 600. So 300 to 900 win 3 league credits. So
that's pretty nice.
If we stick within 900, then Josh and I will have 3 fantasy teams that we will manage next year, and we'll just have to manage them through the podcast.
That's sweet.
Do it that way. I think that will work out fine.
That would be great.
If we can get up to top 300, we get $150 back, and then if we get to a top 100 is when we start to win the real cash at $500. Obviously, the real cash is top prize, but I don't think we're going to end up getting. I don't think we have an opportunity to get to a big sweat. 402 is the leader right now. He's got Josh Allen, Travis Kelce, Barkley, McLaurin. So the only difference from us in first place in terms of people left is Xavier Worthy versus Travis Kelce. So
right.
You can blame me. Maybe I cost us, $1,000 or $2.
No, I like that pick too.
Worthy over Kelce.
I like that pick. Kelce in the playoffs is a different beast, I guess. But no, I like the Worthy pick too. I'm not mad about that at all.
It was real. We set it up really nicely though.
Yeah,
because we set up we knew we were going to have either Puka or Hawkinson, and we knew we were either going to have Ladd. Was it Ladd? Oh no, we actually played this to fade Houston.
Correct. Yep.
But then Houston scored 24 on defense that week, so that worked.
That was huge.
We faded Pittsburgh, which made a lot of sense with Chris Boswell. We faded the Broncos, which was perfect because they were trash.
Yeah.
And then we faded
Packers.
That's right. Yeah. Which worked out really well. So all 4 fades worked out well. Houston fade worked out great, getting the 24.
That's awesome.
I think really the Hawkinson, we could have just straight up faded the Vikings probably, but nobody really scored a ton. Nico had a great game that first week. So that could have been a different to where, maybe we faded them and got Nico. So anyways, we could go through that all day long, but I wanted to bring it up. We are live here, guys. Yeah. We are in this thing.
That's pretty sweet. I mean, the top 1,000 I feel like is impressive. So
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if this shows us. No, I was wondering if it would tell us how many people were in it. Doesn't even say.
Maximum of.
Oh, right here, 16,000.
There you go.
I mean, how good am I to have out of 16,000? I've got a lineup here in 15,450th place.
Who's on that team?
Well, Jalen Hurts, who's been trash.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
I mean, when you just straight look at it, it doesn't look bad, but
No, it doesn't.
J.K. Dobbins didn't do anything. Jalen Warren obviously didn't do anything. Wasn't great. That's crazy, though. These teams are so different and not even close, and then we built one that's in the top 1,000 right now. That's awesome.
That's cool.
just together, just on a whim.
Yeah.
Okay, one last thing I want to share here is I got myself in a guillotine league. So
nice.
the bottom 25% have been cut each week, and I've made it to the first one. So if I go back to week 19, essentially, so 375, I got 295, so I made it in. So what this is at the very beginning of the playoffs, pick any 10 players you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Sorry, any 14 players you want.
Okay.
And then you have to set a starting lineup. But then after it locks, you can't change who you have on your team.
Gotcha.
And this is the team that you have. And so you want to try to get guys who are going to go further, but also score a lot of points, obviously.
Right.
And so even this week, I'm going to have 7 of my 8 starting lineup filled, which I think is going to be pretty good. I think that's okay. I didn't play it perfectly, but I don't mind it.
Wait, so you
obviously
you can't use your bench guys even if they were still in? Like Mahomes is still in.
Right, but I have Josh Allen as well.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay.
So I can move Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
I see. Okay.
So I took both of them thinking, okay, one of either the Chiefs or the Bills are going to make the Super Bowl. That's the way I played it out. The problem is I played too many one-offs. Like I had a one-off I had 2 Detroit, 1 Minnesota, 1 Rams. Like I didn't need all that. I probably should have just at the beginning I thought about getting out of the first round, and I probably should have thought more about the later rounds. So
gotcha.
Which is what we preach all the time, and I just didn't do it here. But I got 3 Bills, I've got 3 Chiefs, and then I've got, I think, 2 Philadelphia guys. So as long as Philly wins, I'll have 5 guys in the Super Bowl to play as well. So
you're in first place, it said, right?
Well, that's because this week hasn't started.
Oh, okay.
So each week resets. This is just a straight up. It resets and it just drops the lowest 25%.
Okay. Nice.
So the first round, only 375 teams advanced out of like 500. And then last week, only 250 advanced. So then this week, only 125 would advance.
Nice.
So it just keeps chopping it each and every week. And then you have your final, which will be Super Bowl weekend.
Sweet.
So
that's fun.
You can see a lot of these guys, like 180 points, minutes remaining, 240. So I'm hoping that having 7 of my 8 lineup will help me.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The old championship.
This is the first time I've ever done that one.
Yeah, that's fun.
I like it.
Sweet.
All right, let's build a DFS lineup.
Let's do it.
On FanDuel. If you're in the chat with us, let us know your favorite DFS lineup, your favorite plays, whatever it is. We're going to build one lineup. I'm going to put it in the contest. $10 contest. It's 2,352 people. So kind of keeping that in mind. Josh, I will let you get us started. Anybody you want.
I'm kind of curious to build something without Saquon, like you were talking about earlier, because I've done one with Saquon and one without Saquon. Let me ask: would you want to go with or without Saquon? Do you have a preference?
We can go without.
All right,
I'm all down for that. I love playing contrarian.
Yeah, let's do your Hurts AJ Brown stack maybe. Do you want to start with that or no?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. Yep, let's do that. Hurts AJ Brown. I'm just gonna go ahead and put one of your favorite plays in here in Austin Eckler.
Sweet.
Your turn.
What's your do you have a rule for when you pick your DST, how many guys on the opposing team that you try to avoid having? Like obviously you can have a player and have the DST they're going up against. They can both do well.
Yeah.
But do you try to watch that to make sure you don't have like 2 or 3 players from that defense? Because I think that's something I always think about too. Like I don't want to have guys scoring points against my DST. So
right. So if we're doing a regular like season main slate, I definitely pay more attention to it.
Yeah.
Even last week, 2 weeks ago, when it was a 6-game slate, I would usually try to like play the defense. Maybe I play a running back, or maybe I just play a one-off defense and nothing else.
Right.
But in a 2-game slate, no, I'll either just take the cheapest defense to save the money, or I'll take the defense I actually think will do the best, and I won't really care.
Gotcha.
I'll play Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Chiefs defense.
Sure.
It just doesn't. I don't think about defense near as much in a 2-game slate as I do.
Yeah, because you have to play somebody, right? Like it's not. Yeah. Well, we talked about this earlier. When you're not using the star heavy with the Saquon, let's put Travis Kelce in there, like you mentioned. Let's get that stability at tight end.
Okay.
Knowing that we could very well put another tight end to flex if we think about it, or if we decide to. But
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do exactly kind of what I just said when I said I would do Mahomes, Kelce, and Chiefs defense. I'm going to do that with the Eagles defense. I think they confuse the heck out of Jaden Daniels and just cause havoc here.
Yep, I love that.
The other thing that I like to do, and we don't have to do it in this lineup, but just for the listeners, it's 2 games. Like I like to build where I just have to get one of them right. Mm-hmm. If they're both sitting at 47.5, so you can't really use the total as an opportunity. But I think what that'll do is it'll drive most lineups to be 4 guys from one game, 5 from the other, or 6 and 3. And I think that if you, again, we don't have to do it in this lineup, but I think if you really push yourself and force yourself to get 7 or 8 guys from one game, and you just say, this is the game. This game is the one that goes for 55, and the other game goes for 40. Yep. And if you get that game right, you potentially are giving yourself a leg up on the rest of the competition.
Yeah. I think it's a good thought for sure. Who are you thinking about?
Well, I took the Eagles defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, I keep leaning towards Shakir, but if we want to do that, like if we want to stick with the Commanders Eagles game, right, and stay kind of Eagles heavy.
Well, I put the Eagles defense in here, so I don't think you have to go that route on this particular lineup.
Okay.
Like if I took this out and went like Chiefs defense with Travis Kelce, then I think we could, but I don't think we have to go that real heavy. I just think it's an opportunity for if people are building multiple lineups, like think about how you can push yourself out of that comfort zone and do something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think I'll lean Shakir here because he's kind of been my guy that I think is good, especially when we have an expensive receiver there with AJ Brown. So there's a good balance out in price point.
Yeah, 6,800 left. It kind of feels like we can do just about anything we want.
Yep.
But right now, I'm just going to go Kareem Hunt. We already said we weren't going to play Saquon in this one, so
Right.
which we still might have room to play him on it. Like it's which is probably why he's going to be 80% owned because it's not really too tight.
Right.
But 7,300, we need a wide receiver and a flex.
Oof. I mean, my favorite, well, the guy I like the most at wide receiver is Terry McLaurin, because if we're not thinking too much about the defense there at flex or at other wideout, but otherwise, if you were thinking maybe of a tight end there, if we wanted to go, like a Dallas Goedert there to stick with that Eagles stack, well, that's not a bad play.
No, I don't mind that at all. What we might do is if I move this to the Chiefs.
I was just going to say we only have now one bill, so maybe it actually kind of helps out if we switch our defense.
Dang, can't get to. I was wondering if we could get to Devonta and just double stack Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith.
Ooh, I like that.
Can't quite get there with what we've got though. I mean, what we could do, we could go Bill. Oh, we can't get Bill's defense either. Darn. I thought maybe we could get Bill's defense in there. So Hunt, Kelsey, Chiefs defense, and we've got Khalil Shakir in there for a high floor. We've got Hurts to AJ Brown with Eckler and Terry McLaurin as a bring back. I think we probably just go just double tight end.
Yeah, double tight end unless you feel like Xavier Worthy's gonna fix his mistakes from last week.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that would be if we were going to go Hunt, Worthy, and Kelsey. If that was optimal, I think that Mahomes. I mean, I think Mahomes would be, but literally as I said that, I thought, what if Hurts does exactly what you said earlier?
Yeah.
What if he throws 2 touchdowns to AJ Brown and then Tush pushes his way into one?
Yep.
Now a single stack Hurts is worth it.
Right.
And Dallas Goedert is nothing at that point.
Right.
And then on the other side, it's all of Chiefs offense goes through Worthy and Kelsey, and then Hunt gets the goal line touchdown.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
I like that build right there.
So we're going to go Hurts to AJ Brown as a skinny stack with Eckler and McLaurin as bringbacks. And then we're going heavy KC with Hunt, Kelsey, Worthy, Chiefs defense, and Khalil Shakir. Actually, I mean, we could probably just go Eagles defense on that. Even having Eckler and McLaurin, you're not worried about those two.
No. They're going to probably score. There's going to be touchdowns in every game that you would think in the playoffs. So it's not like you're getting Eckler getting a receiving touchdown is going to kill the defense. What you're hoping for is a lot of sacks, right?
Sacks and turnovers. And who's going to get sacked more? Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, or Jaden Daniels?
Right.
To me, it's Jaden Daniels all day. He's the one that's inexperienced. These other 3 guys have been here many times, and they don't get sacked often already.
Right. Yeah, I like that play a lot.
All right. Nice. It is in. Do you want to do an underdog draft?
I am up for whatever. If we want to finish up with something on underdog, it sounds good to me. I do have. I have a. I did one earlier, and I did. I don't usually do defenders. I was going to ask you if you think this was a stupid pick by me. I have Zach Bond to get over 9.5 tackles plus assists.
We should do an underdog. We should do a pick'ems.
Yeah,
we talked about our best bets. Let's do a pick'ems too on underdog. Let's do that first, and then we'll do a draft. So you did who?
I don't usually ever do. I've done a couple guys to get a sack before, and it hasn't panned out. But I did Zach Bond higher than 9.5 tackles plus assists. Kind of because we were talking about earlier with Jaden Daniels needing to scramble a little bit, and Zach Bond's just everywhere. I feel like that's a lot of plenty of tackles he can get. Yeah. Plus, it's got the multiplier attached to it. So, I don't know. I was going to run that by you first. I don't pick a lot of defenders plus.
I don't pick a lot of defense. defense either. So,
So who knows if that's
Lee said, don't the Commanders lead the league in takeaways? I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have that.
I will look that up right now.
They might lead. Do they lead the league in giveaways? Because if so, that'd be awesome for Philadelphia. But no, I have no idea if they do it. Philadelphia just doesn't have an offense that does things to give the ball away a lot.
Right.
They're gonna run, play action pass, deep ball to AJ Brown. All right, I said earlier 1.5 over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, so I'm going to put that on there.
Yep, I like that one.
Wait, do we want to do? Hang on. Let's do two. Let's do two. Let's do one that's like super spicy.
Okay.
And then let's do one that we're like, this feels really good.
Oh, I see. I should have taken Saquon Barkley over 130, like Lee told me in the fourth quarter, because now it's up to 131.5. Would have gotten in before.
All right, so let's just do one. So the Jalen Hurts, I'll wait till that. I'll let that be really spicy one. Let's I'm gonna go to Kelsey. What's Kelsey looking like? Actually, what's Mahomes rushing? $26 on Underdog.
Jeez. You said he averages about 33 though, right?
Yeah, I wonder if I can I slide this? 30. I like that. So he gets 30.
Yeah, to get the multiplier, that's worth it for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's do a 4. Let's do a 4-piece. So you took Zach Bond, I took Mahomes. So you're trying to pick somebody.
Okay, let me see here.
These don't have to be the spicy ones. They can just be kind of a
yeah.
And maybe we'll do like a 3-pick, like super spicy, great multiplier.
Yeah. For some reason, like I keep talking about how good Saquon Barkley is, and I keep wanting to pick the one that's the most easy to get. And for some reason, the 24.5 rushing attempts looks like the easiest one he's going to get.
Okay.
Assuming they're playing with the lead and they can control the game, like his last 4 games, 2 in the playoffs, and then the last 2 regular season he played, the lowest was 25. So I just have to think that they're going to lean on him enough to get the attempts, and then they don't have to worry about how far he goes, right?
Exactly.
Oh, look at that 4.68 times first TD score for Kelsey. That's spicy.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. This is a half-point PPR.
Yeah.
I don't mind this 13.5. Last week he ran for. Last week he had 24.2. I kind of like this 13.8 fantasy points. I want to do a Kelsey one. I'm probably going to hit that. I'm going to go over fantasy points.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I mean, he's usually in the 15 to 20 range when it matters.
Yeah.
All right. $2 wins you 25. I'm going to do this.
Nice multiplier.
Yeah, 12 point there. I'm going to do this. If you use the link by signing up, I'll get a little kickback here, which means we get to do more drafts. I have to keep $40 in here because the Engage 8 is 8. It's 8 max $5, and I think that's one that I think I'm gonna max it. That's all the drafts I'm gonna do. We're about to do one here in a minute. All right, let's do spicy.
Okay.
I want to start spicy. I want to start with what you said earlier. I know it was your pick. How do I find it? Surely it has it on here, right?
You're going to Jalen?
Oh, it doesn't have total touchdowns? Dang it.
No, it doesn't. I didn't run that. I didn't look to see if Underdog had that. That was just my bold prediction.
I know, but once you said it, I was like, oh, I really want that. I bet that's great. All right, I don't. Let me look. Do you have anything bold that you want to? Anything spicy?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna see. What if we? How many rushing yards can Jaden Daniels get?
If he scrambles like we're expecting him to, and he's at 54.5, that's I see.
What about a
I
nice
was
69?
looking at my screen for a second. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yeah, let's do it. That is spicy.
Multiplier right out of the gate.
Yep. that is spicy.
Kelsey isn't bad against the Bills. That's a myth. It's a myth. The Bills defense is not. I don't know. Maybe they'll prove me wrong this weekend. Lee, give us a bold bet that we can look at. That we can add to our pick'ems.
Eckler first quarter receiving yards is a multiplier to get 1 receiving yard. Do we think Eckler's going to get a catch in the first quarter? It's not a big multiplier, but it's
first quarter
1.04 right there, 0.5 for first quarter receptions.
What's the
receiving yards? Sorry.
What if he gets 5 receiving yards?
That's the thing. Like a multiplier just to get a catch at the line of scrimmage is pretty nice. I would think that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
It is one quarter. If they don't have the ball more than once, it's gonna be tough. But I still feel like they're gonna get them involved.
True. All right, let's go. We don't have anything from Buffalo. Let's see. What's Allen's? Not even a multiplier on rushing touchdown. He doesn't have much. First quarter passing touchdown.
Oh, that's not bad.
But what about his longest rush?
Game high rushing yards. Kind of interesting. He's not going to get it, but
actually, where's that? That's not.
It's a 1.67x or 1.67 times.
He absolutely could be.
I suppose because the Chiefs are really good against the run. James Cook isn't. He's not someone I'm not trying to predict his over is higher on his rushing yards. So,
can Josh Allen get a 20-yard run?
Yes, he can.
Like on a scramble, right?
Yeah, I would feel. I mean, we're being spicy. I think 14.5. It feels like it's spicy.
Just go 50. We do spicy, but we also keep it real.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
All right, we're only at 11.6. Let's get this thing up to like a 20x.
All right, I'm gonna look up one and before I say it out loud to see if there's anything exciting.
Eckler won't even play in the first quarter. Lee says, "Oh, I don't think that's true." Let me go snap count. I think Eckler played quite a bit last week, didn't he?
I haven't. I should check on that. I didn't really think of him for first quarter specifically. So
Eckler 37% of snaps last week, 47 the week before. I don't hate it.
No. He just needs
Come on, don't be ranting on our Lee, give us a play. Let us know what do we let this thing be spicy.
What about how about this one?
20x, man.
Here's 5.66x.
Oh, baby.
Jalen Carter over 1.5 sacks. Does Jalen Carter specifically? He's not. Sacks? That's a lot to ask.
I don't know. Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is a stud, but I don't think he's catching. I don't think he's catching Jaden Daniels.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, it's spicy.
That is very spicy.
Goodness, it's spicy. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This one. 5.66. Whoo! That gets us to 100.9x.
Oh man. But 2 sacks is that's too much.
Spicy.
That is spicy.
You want to keep it or no?
No,
Too spicy.
That's too spicy. That's just that's how they get people on this.
Yeah,
That's how
exactly.
that's
And here's my $2. And
exactly.
I mean, that's all I did with the best ball stuff, anyways, right?
Right.
Every time I won, I just put it right back in.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what I do think is a little bit less, it's still kind of spicy, but a little bit less risky. Is do you have a gut feeling about a guy to get an interception? Like, I've done that before. If I really feel like there's a guy that's, good ball hawker back there, like, I don't know, like
I
CJ
would have
Gardner
no
Johnson. Like that's too, it's still almost too spicy. I don't know. I see. I'm going off into the defensive realm. It's just getting ridiculous over here. So, do we have any AJ Brown? Do you want to double down on your AJ Brown stack? Because there's something spicy for him.
Yeah, let's do that.
He's got 5.02 for a first quarter receiving touchdown. That's a nice multiplier.
Come right down the field and score.
It's definitely
I don't like the first quarter stuff.
Yeah, that's always.
I'm just always worried.
It's just not as fun then if you don't get it and you're already.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's 1.27 just to get a touchdown in general. I mean, that's pretty.
Right.
That's not bad.
And if we think he's a big game, if we slide his receiving yards over to, 70, he's still to 1.23.
Game high receiving yards.
That's possible. 1.89. It's not bad.
Locked picks must be resolved before submit entry. Remove Eckler to unlock. Oh, that's weird.
Why did we have to remove?
I don't know. I couldn't put that with our Eckler pick. Apparently,
That's weird.
But it's only on that one.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
I do. Let's go. Let's go touchdown. Let's go AJ Brown touchdown.
There we go. 1.27 just to get a touchdown, rushing or receiving.
All right. Lee says, "Oh, is there any interception?" He says, "Braun have an interception." Braun
probably means
Braun for tackles last one.
Yeah.
Is he an interception man?
Zach Bond. I don't know.
$8.5.
Oh, definitely spicy.
We've reached the max. 250.
They're nervous. We got it. We got to figure it out.
Like it. Too many. All right, so let's get a chief in here. We've got our Washington, Jane Daniels, Austin Eckler, AJ Brown on the other side to get some correlation here. Josh Allen, 14.5 longest rush. So he's having to run a lot because they're behind.
Yep.
What's Worthy got out here? Give me some. We haven't done anything with Xavier Worthy tonight. Oh my God. Last weekend we did a parlay, and all week long, all I kept thinking about is I need to do Jameson Williams rush and receiving yards. I need to get that in.
Yeah.
I need to lock that in. We go to do this parlay, and I said, "Oh yeah, let's do Jameson Williams receiving yards." And then he gets the rushing, and I'm the only leg that doesn't hit out of the 5.
Oh no!
And I was like so tilted the whole night. I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" If I would have just done the receiving plus rushing, which I thought about all weekend long.
Right.
Let's do this. Let's do Worthy. Rush first receiving, and let's go to 70.
Okay. Ooh.
That gets us to a 63x.
I love that.
We good there? So we got Jane Daniels, 70 yards rushing. Austin Eckler, 1 receiving yard in the first quarter. Josh Allen, 15-yard longest rush. AJ Brown, a touchdown. Xavier Worthy, 70 rush plus receiving yards.
I'm nervous what you said about the first quarter stuff. It would be a huge bummer to not be able to root for any of this just because Austin Eckler doesn't get a first quarter.
All right, let's get out of there.
Is
there anything else we like of Eckler? Or?
I think so. That just was sending me bad vibes. Like I kind of like his. What was his? Maybe it wasn't his receptions. Let me see here. Let's find Eckler. That would just be the bummer of all bummers.
Yeah. What about Chris Jones?
I mean, it's not spicy, but his fantasy points is at 8.35. And that's. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of total yards overall, but if we think he's got a shot at the end zone plus 4 catches, like, seems pretty easy. 25 receiving yards for Eckler. You get a 1.31 if you give him 30, higher than 29.5.
What did Eckler have last week?
Yeah, he hasn't exactly been racking up the yards.
4 for 41 last week, receiving. 6 for 47 rushing.
Yeah.
3 for 26 the week before. What's his receiving at? 25. I think.
25 and a half.
30.
All right, let's do that. The first quarter of excitement.
Can we add Chris Jones sack?
Absolutely.
And really, really spice it up?
Yeah, let's do it. Of course, now that we did all that, Austin Eckler is going to catch. He's going to catch a dump off at the end of the first quarter, and
what happened here?
Wow, $2 for 274. Let's go. That's gonna be great.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can do a flex.
Well, I think they make you flex when you have this many picks.
Oh, I don't want to flex.
Yeah, I think you have to cut down.
So if I take that off,
I think if you're at 5, you can choose standard. But I think you've more than 5. I think they have it written somewhere where you.
Okay, so we're at 5. We play up to. We do standard. We win 154. If we do Chris Jones at 6, and we get all 6 right, we win 273. But if we get 5 right, we get 24.
Oh, jeez.
I think we take it off the sack. Then we just go for the 150.
Yeah, go for the big one. Yep.
All right, locking that in.
Let's do it.
Send it in the chat. If you want to do it, use it. Tail us. Win some money. Put your house on it. Whatever you need to do. You heard it here first.
Well, there's some sound advice.
All right, there are a ton of underdog drafts, and I know we're already at our hour and a half, so we'll just do maybe one of these real fast. They don't take very long.
Fair enough.
There are a ton of NFL drafts here. Every single price point you want. Now, these guys, 40,000 people, 11,000 people, 30,000. If you come over here to the Engage 8, is it filled? Oh, no. It's right there.
There it
My
is.
goodness, I thought it would only 4,500. It's a smaller contest. We've talked about this before. Yeah, it doesn't pay out $100,000 up top, but get you a couple thousand if you win the money, right?
Yep.
So it's an 8-inch. It's $5, 8 max. Let's play it. These are interesting, Josh. Have you done any of the 4-man yet?
I have not done. I did some 3-man at the beginning of the season, some best ball, but that's a little bit different. The 4-man right now. I'm going to defer to you on these, but
for me, so far it's felt like if you don't get the 101, it feels like you're dead because you don't get Barkley.
Right.
But I think it's very similar, like when we built the DFS lineup. Like there are paths.
Yep.
To Barkley not winning. The other thing is these are 1-week lineups, and so tight end matters now. It's not a Whereas all the best ball playoff stuff we've been talking about on stream has been tight end doesn't matter. You don't have to draft a tight end. You have to draft a tight end here, and
yeah.
So for me, it's either quarterback or tight end, but you don't take both early.
Okay. You got the 4 spot.
Got the 4 spot. I don't think there's so. You can let me know if you think this is wrong. I don't think there's a big difference Sorry, let me rephrase. I think there's a bigger difference between Travis Kelce and next tight end more than Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried. Like, you can't draft two quarterbacks in this.
Right.
Because it's just a 1 week thing. So it literally won't let you draft two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's probably sharper to take Kelce at the turn versus taking a quarterback at the turn.
Yeah, for sure. I think that makes sense. Yeah, we talked about it with the DFS stuff. Yeah, the positional advantage you get with Kelce at tight end is pretty significant.
So we get one quarterback, one running back, one tight end, two wide receivers, and then one flex.
Okay.
So it's 6 total here.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, NCU already took Kelce, so there goes that idea.
Interesting. Okay.
Josh Allen goes.
Oof. That
We
throws
can
off.
take Cook, but we have Hunt later on. I think
Right.
it's fine. We could take our AJ Brown.
I like that.
Keep talking about him. I'm not really big on McLaurin. I think the Philly defense is really great.
Yeah, less this week than I have been for sure. So I don't mind passing on McLaurin. I like the AJ Brown.
We could do Cook. Chiefs defense is pretty, like, run defense is good. I kind of like go back to our Worthy versus Shakir stuff.
Yeah. I mean, those Worthy and Shakir, are going to be involved and they're going to get points. So I say take your pick there. I like that better than Cook as well. I'm not thinking a lot of yards for Cook. He's going to need to get in the end zone, I think, to be relevant this week.
Well, I'll take Worthy because obviously, for obvious reasons. But so you still want to correlate a little bit, this leaves us Hurts and Mahomes both as potential quarterbacks.
Right.
But you don't have to correlate near as much.
And you can you only draft one quarterback, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we
don't have
to wait.
We didn't take him last pick, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Now this guy also has Mahomes, Smith, Hurts. So.
Oh, okay.
Like, he could take either one as well.
Right. So if we liked one
much,
well,
he could also take Jaden Daniels. So I guess he's probably doesn't matter. So we can just keep pushing it unless we absolutely love one of them over the other.
I mean, I feel like the way we've talked tonight, we've really loved Hurts over, but I don't think we love him so much that I think we should take the skill position players first because those are a bit more precious right
now. I think we could probably wait on tight end at this point. What skill position do we love the most? Probably need to get a running back. Eckler?
I think so, yeah. Unless
he's my favorite running back on the board over Pacheco. Pacheco's hurt. He's not.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, not the same.
And Hunt went earlier than I expected him to go. So.
Okay.
So we're looking at flex, tight end, and quarterback.
Still don't think we need to do quarterback yet. If we're okay with
anyone, go Goddard, just kind of get Hurts stacked.
Let's do that. Yeah, I like that.
Daniels first with Kelce or Ertz. Well, you can't go Jaden first. Kelsey's never going to fall to the second round. Unless you get him at the turn. You could get Jaden and Kelce at the turn sometimes. That works sometimes. Lee says you guys like Eagles and Chiefs, but he likes the other two. I mean, I'm kind of defense wins championships, unfortunately. For the fantasy football guys, you'd think that we want all the offense we can get. But,
for the record, Lee, I did pick the Bills over the Chiefs, but I do like the fantasy options in Kansas City as well. So
we're gonna go Hurts over Mahomes with this one.
The only team I'm pretty fading right now is the Commanders, just because I think the Eagles are gonna win handily, but Could be wrong.
We're going Hurts over Mahomes. We could go Zacchaeus and just say Philadelphia, Washington is way higher scoring than the other game.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could go, Pacheco falls in the end zone, Ty Johnson. Where do you want to go here?
Yeah.
Plenty of Buffalo guys here.
Yeah, I don't like Hollins or Cooper, obviously. Zacchaeus I kind of have a soft spot for, but I also don't think he's going to be amazing. The same thing with Curtis Samuel. Those are the two I like out of that group of receivers, but they're not ultra exciting necessarily.
I think Zacchaeus makes the most sense, though.
Yeah.
In terms of for this, we just say that's the game. That's the game that hits 55 points. The other game goes for 40, and it just so happens that Worthy was the main reason for that.
Right. I like being able to wait and get Hurts there, especially consider the Hurts, Brown, Goddard, I think is going to carry us. And if we just get I think can carry us. And then if we get that middle of the road 10 fantasy points from Eckler, I think we're in. There's a chance.
Yeah. So real quick before just to look at this as you all are doing your championship week, I don't think you need to take Josh Allen right off the top. Can I? Come on now. I don't want to do this. I just want to see my board. They don't show you your draft board? That sucks. Because it's not basketball anymore.
Oh, I suppose.
Anyways, I don't think you need to take Josh Allen early. Unless you just absolutely think he's going to go for 50 and like he has before. It's just not. The quarterbacks have been pretty flat this season, this postseason. So
yeah.
All right, that was a lot of fun, Josh. You have anything else for the people before we get out of here?
No, I appreciate everyone hanging out and checking in, especially because I know normal fantasy season's over. This is where the people who are clinging to football season are. So I appreciate that there's people in here watching. Thanks for consoling me from afar. I know everyone feels bad for me because I'm a Vikings fan, so continue to do so. Brutal.
Wait, before we get out of here, who's their starting quarterback next year?
My gut tells me JJ McCarthy, and I'd be okay with that. I'm kind of if Sam Darnold, he had a really good year up to the last part. If we go to him and say, here's a reasonable deal for 2 years, so we give McCarthy a full. If he's not, especially if he's not going to be fully healthy by offseason, I'm okay rolling Darnold out there. But the season he had, he's going to command some big money, I think. And I think we cut ties and we say, hey, thanks. You had a great season. Appreciate it. You doing well for us in what was supposed to be more of a rebuilding year, but we'll have the best of luck in the future. So I would say if I had to bet, I would say it's JJ McCarthy, but who knows?
I think that's probably where they'll go to. And if he's not, I think they'll bring in another veteran backup,
right?
Like Sam Darnold was supposed to be,
right.
When I was talking to Lee earlier this week, I had thrown out Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's with Kansas City right now, but a guy like that, a guy like Sam Darnold, a guy like Chase Daniel back in the day, And I know they said he had mentioned, well, they have Daniel Jones, but he's also going to be a free agent. I don't know if he's the right person, but find some type of veteran. So just in case McCarthy's not ready, you have a cheap veteran that knows, hey, in 4 weeks when McCarthy's healthy, we're going to him.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say there's the list of free agent quarterbacks is full of names that are okay, if it's a 2 or 3 game, if McCarthy just needs a couple extra weeks, right?
Yeah.
Some guy that there's.
What if McCarthy is not going to be able to play next year and he just needs a year to sit? And Aaron Rodgers comes knocking.
I've already seen the memes because it would be the same trajectory that Brett Favre did. He went retired,
he went to New York and then Minnesota,
the Jets,
right?
and then came to Minnesota. Yep.
I didn't even think about that, but I mean, I knew Favre was in Minnesota, but I didn't think about the fact they went the Jets first. Oh,
yeah, that's
God.
wild. So I don't really want anything to do with Rodgers.
Yeah,
if
I wouldn't either.
if they're if they're nervous that McCarthy's going to be ready, like I said, give Sam Darnold an offer that's not crazy, that gives him a couple guaranteed years, saying, hey, this is what we can offer you. Assuming if someone else pays him more, we're not going to match that. Like I don't want us to overpay for that, because I think Kevin O'Connell's is a good enough offensive coach where even if it's Daniel Jones on the cheap, like I think he could get some competitive play out of Daniel Jones for a couple of games. Like I don't want to run with him for the whole season, that's for sure. But
Jones, Russ might be out there.
Yeah, Russ and Fields are both free agents. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's a free agent, and that's not exciting at all. But at least it's a guy.
I think you would want somebody like Sam Darnold is going to have the same type of game that JJ McCarthy has. Like Russ probably has a similar type game. Like I don't think Daniel Jones really has that type of game.
No, yes. It
doesn't seem like NFL teams care about that, but I always think about that. I don't know, like why would I want to put a guy who is best when he's using his legs? In an offense where I'm trying to build it on JJ McCarthy, who doesn't need to use his legs.
Right. Yeah.
But like Jimmy Garoppolo, he's in LA right now. Like that would be a good guy to have. Just kind of, there's guys out there that would be options, I think, for Minnesota.
Right. So I think
it's much cheaper than Sam Darnold if they believe in JJ McCarthy.
Right. And because I know everyone was like, even when Sam Darnold, before his kind of implosion at the end of the year, people were saying, well, now he's worth a lot of trade value. And I was like, well, we don't have to hustle to trade him. Like teams, it's in this league, I get it. Like you either have the high end elite that you pay for, or you have a rookie deal quarterback and a really good roster. Like those tend to seem to be the winning models right now. But we saw the Packers, Jordan Love sit for a while, and then that kind of panned out for the most part. He's still he's not my personal favorite, but he's definitely good enough and has had some really good moments. And so he sat for a while. They didn't rush him in there.
Sat for an entire year.
Yep. And so I'm not opposed to that either with McCarthy, because I do think, even though, because the hard thing to tell is there's enough to, obviously we know why we all like him, but also he's got very little film on him from college and in the brief preseason he played.
And what's tough is it wasn't like they were like, hey, look, Sam Darnold's hot, we're sticking with him. Kid, you're going to sit the bench.
Right.
He was injured, so he can't even – he's not practicing. He's not putting together drives on a practice field or anything like that. Like, obviously he's in all the meetings. He's learning as much as possible, but there's something to putting it on the field too. So that kind of, doesn't help his growth. For sure. Yeah, I think I would put money on a healthy JJ McCarthy as well.
Yeah, if he especially if he's ready before training camp and gets that full experience again, like I'm saying, let's go for it. Let's go tell Sam to go get his paycheck that he deserves. He earned it this past year, but we all knew what it was at play. No hard feelings and go on. But
and then go pay some of those other guys that Minnesota needs to pay.
Yep, for sure.
Alrighty. Well, quick housekeeping. I don't think we're here next week, but we'll come back the week prior to the Super Bowl. Right?
Yes,
I think we talked about that. So we'll take a week off. We'll come back. We'll talk Showdown. We'll talk Super Bowl, our favorite bets of the Super Bowl, all those good things here in 2 weeks, right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. Until then, may all the winning be in your favor. The Chiefs are going to go drop another banner. Don't even know what else to say. They do it each and every year. Arrowhead Invitational, 5:30 on your CBS network.
Listen, if the Chiefs make the Super Bowl, Trevor, you need to come with like a banner that we can put on here for the show before the Super Bowl with all those accolades, the 5 and 7 years hosting, the Super Bowl
Arrowhead
MVP.
Invitationals.
I want to see all of those laid out.
I can make an overlay.
There you go.
Overlay with all the Chiefs stuff. 4-0 against the Bills. Maybe I'll make the thumbnail with like Josh Allen crying. All the good stuff. So I'll troll as much as I can. All right, everybody. Have a great time. Championship Sunday this weekend. Go Chiefs, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need